After observing people for a while, I've noticed something. People enjoy being used. They want to be a follower. Most people were made to be sheeps. The average person doesn't want to be at the top of the totem pole. They don't want to be a leader because becoming a leader requires something. It requires some kind of idea, some kind of powerful image that you have to keep up. It's difficult leading a movement. You have to have some kind of expression. You have to be unique in some way, and it's difficult creating that image for yourself because it means you have to escape this system that is created where you are going to be raised by your parents and you are going to be conditioned by society to turn out very similarly to your parents. And when that goes on in a group, over time, everybody starts to become more and more similar, less and less unique. So it's very difficult to make yourself stand out and be a leader. It takes more work than most people are willing to put in. There's people who will act like they want it for a day, but they're never willing to actually have that mentality, have that leadership mentality where they're willing to go through the pain to get there. It's much easier to be a follower in the middle of the totem pole. Nobody wants to be on the bottom because at the bottom you just get kicked and pushed around. You don't actually have any enjoyment, but people don't want to be at the top either because it takes challenge. It takes you to it takes this ability to speak, this ability to influence. The middle is the most comfortable position. And that's the key word here, comfortable. People enjoy comfort. They want to be used by people because it allows them to sit in this comfortable position where what do they get in today's world? They get free media, right? I mean, you have all this television, Netflix, all this stuff. And I know it's not actually technically free, but I mean, it borderline is. It's all pretty cheap. Almost everybody has at least one subscription, right? And even if you don't, you can get on YouTube. And there you go, free entertainment. Limitless free entertainment. Also, sex is basically free now. I mean, it's already pretty easy to get to it. There's a million whores. They're everywhere. It's not that challenging to go just pick one up and then there you go. You got yourself a one night stand, but there's no real connection in it, obviously. Or if you even can't go out and you don't have the social skills to even get a slut, you can just go on a Pornhub. There you go. X videos. Yeah, you limitless supply of the most degenerate crap you will ever find. Like the most disturbing, disgusting, unnatural sex in the world. And it's just blasted right in front of you from the age of like 9 years old. That's when the average man finds that 9 years old. Something like that. Yeah, it's really sad when most people are exposed to that stuff. It's not that hard to see why everybody turned out to be whores because they were exposed to the most degenerate forms of sex from the ages of like 10. Imagine that. Imagine being 10 years old. I have a 7-year-old brother. He wouldn't, I mean, he would probably go puke. I can't imagine like how his brain could comprehend that. And there's kids already seeing it. I've heard Kanye talking about this, how he found like his dad's like um pornographic magazine or something at 6 years old, I believe it was. Maybe it was 5. A kid can't mentally take that. They can't comprehend what they are seeing. The image is just it's awful. It is an awful thing that these children are being exposed to from such an early age. But back on track, right? So you have free entertainment, free sex, you have all this pretty easy to get food. I mean, even if you can't get like the actual good stuff, the stuff that's good for you, anybody can go and just buy the tasty poison, right? The sweets, the junk food. Everybody has like a bag of chips at home that they're just, mowing down on. So look, you got free food that your brain is tricked into thinking is good because it tastes good, because it's artificially made to make you feel like you're consuming something good. You have this free sex or free pornographic material, or at the same time, you also have free entertainment, limitless entertainment. You also have shelter, even though you don't actually own it. Everybody just got to what, like an apartment building is the thing nowadays. You have this little cubicle. Man, that's sad to think about. Take that in for a second. Imagine living your entire life in a little square box, and that's all you have. You have this little cubicle that keeps you all nice and warm at night, Not even. I mean, gets cold in those. So you got this little cubicle. You're hooked on porn, hooked on junk food, and you have limitless entertainment. How are you not going to be just distracted and just okay? You're going to be content. It's going to be comfortable. And if you take a risk, because it takes risks to get to the top. If you're one of the few people who actually realizes this and starts to escape the mentality of just being hooked and being used by these companies for not just your money, but your time, which is much more valuable. These people, they are in a race for your time. It's why the new Apple headset came out, right? Whatever that is, like the VR headset. I think it's like the Apple Pro or something like that. Why do you think that is? Because it's going to allow them to take even more of your time. Their goal is to get you hooked on that 24/7 eventually, so you're constantly on their product, constantly seeing their advertisements. Your brain becomes just like a little money making jizz, right? I mean, it's just squirting out, giving it all to them, and the Apple just is sucking it up. Man, that's so disgusting. That's the world we live in now. That's just the truth of it. And these people, right? They're gonna get you hooked on it 24/7. They got that Amazon headset, or not Amazon, Apple headset. Now your world is no longer the real world because, nobody wants the world created by God. This beautiful, beautiful, perfect world created by God. Right? I mean, it was created perfectly. Of course, we've ruined it, we've corrupted it, but still, it is made perfectly for us. No other world could sustain us like this. Yet we'd rather have the man-made God, the money, the Zuckerbergs. That's who we want. We're gonna live in their world instead. This Apple headset, a new reality, and that's where you live now. They get even more of your time, even more of your attention. And the few people that escape this, the few people who manage to somehow miraculously see through it and start to climb out, they not only get shot down by the other people at the middle of the totem pole, because if one person makes it, it makes them start to feel like, oh man, I'm not living up to greatness. I need to start pulling this person down so I can feel more comfortable. That's what your friends will do, by the way. If you have like a bad friend group and people that are just degenerate and don't want to solve any of their problems, you got to get away from them because they will tear you down and keep you down because they don't want you to be successful because it forces them to be successful too. It makes them start to feel uncomfortable with their reality. So they will start pulling you down, and that's what we see constantly. Somebody starts to make progress, hate. Look at like somebody on the grind. Look at the amount of hate comments they'll get. You get some of the supportive guys, right? In the manosphere, especially if you're in that space. I mean, you got a lot of very supportive men there because they're all trying to make it together. But, I mean, generally, typically, when it's exposed to a wider audience, people just get jealous. It makes them angry. So they start to downvote it. They start to, leave these hateful comments saying, "Oh, you're never gonna make it. What's the point of even trying? You're gonna be average like all of us because that's the way it's supposed to be." But here's some news for you. It can be better than that. There is a reality where it's better than that. There's a reality where you get to choose your poison, and instead of just getting consumed by all this entertainment and having your time slipped away and stolen from you, and your pain is caused by somebody else, you can inflict pain on yourself and put yourself through the mission instead. Wouldn't you rather be harming yourself than allow someone else to harm you? Especially when that harming yourself is going to make it less painful than letting somebody else do it? The answer for most people is actually they would rather just let somebody else harm them more than harm themselves a little bit. Because most people are uncomfortable with the reality that they have to go through pain. So they like to reject it and push it back and push it back and let these companies harm them even more than the damage they would inflict upon themselves. And then they just become a little money making cow, you know? They're just getting they're just getting milked. Yeah, the average person is literally getting milked for their money. That's it. They spend all day on this technology, right? On the social media, on Google, looking at advertisements, getting sucked dry. Man, what a awful world. What an awful world. But it can be better than that. If you're willing to actually look past it and you're willing to make the step up, you can make a change. You can get higher on the totem pole, and then you're inflicting your own damage, and then it's less. It's less than. But most people aren't willing to do that because they like being used. We're designed to be followers. God designed us to follow him above all else. Unfortunately, because we are corruptible, we've been corrupted by, the devil, by money, by wealth, all these sins. And then we start to create our own things to follow. And everything we choose to follow other than God is just harming us. You'll notice this on both sides of the aisle too. Obviously I'm a conservative, you all know that. But I'm not gonna act like we're so much better than the left. We're not. We all still have like these streamers we like to listen to. We have these political commentators that we obsess over, and it's just like constantly like, oh, they have this new thing to say. This is my new identity now. Look at the average conservative, right? I mean, they make their identity about whoever they're following. I mean, I even my like profile that I created right here, the one that you're looking at, the suit guy. It's pretty epic, pretty based, but even I put like the MAGA hat on because I'm so obsessed with this identity of being part of the club. I want to be part of the MAGA club, of this like conservative club, these conservative influencers. So, I insert myself in there, even if I wasn't thinking about it. I inserted myself in there with putting this hat on. And that's what we constantly do. We put on these little logos. We create these titles for ourselves to get us into these clubs so that, we can feel like we're truly a part of something. Even if it's not something great, we still push for it. And, that's what it is. Both sides do it. We try to get ourselves into these clubs with people we look up to, even if they haven't actually brought anything of value to the world. We don't care because it's just something to watch for, something to value. And in a world full of so much degeneracy, I mean, anybody that is even a little bit outside of that looks like a hero, looks like a saint. I mean, I'd rather follow a literal Nazi supporter than I would like somebody that's completely in the system because I mean we've been so disillusioned, right? I mean, I don't have any sympathy for for this illusion anymore and anybody inside of it. I would rather listen to somebody that I genuinely like that is genuinely just a bad person than somebody who is average because at least they're doing something to be outside. At least they're trying. And that probably isn't good. That probably isn't healthy. I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, you should go and follow bad, evil people because you shouldn't. There's nothing actually positive about that. It's only going to harm you in the long run. But, but, we want to be part of the social club. So we're like creating this social club of people outside of the social club because the illusion of the social club that everybody else is in is so just terrible. None of us want to be part of it. So we're trying to create our own, but it's so like spread out and so diverse and everybody on the inside doesn't want it to happen. So they're breaking it apart, tearing it down because, jealousy. People get very jealous when you accomplish something. So they're just coming after us, tearing it down and it never actually gets made. And then we all sit here just lonely, falling apart because we are a society without God. I mean, I am myself am a Christian, but even I am a Christian, of course, and at times I am like disgusted by myself, by my own actions. Because somebody who truly followed God shouldn't be doing these things. They are turning us away from God, and I know it. Indulge because it makes you feel a little better, makes you feel a little bit more connected, feel a little bit more normal. We all strive for like normalcy. We all want to be normal, even if we reject it. Like my worst fear is becoming average. Yet, like internally, I still do these things that everybody else does because that's what everybody else is doing. Really, what we should do is strive to be like pure in God's eyes. Yet we still strive to be normal in everybody else's eyes. So we depuricize ourselves. We take our own purity away because it'll get you mocked, because that's the current state of the world we live in. It'll get you mocked to be pure. So we destroy our own purity. The rare small group of people that actually make it. They make it a little bit, they get destroyed. They get torn down until they get like everybody else. And if you're like ahead, if you actually have a chance to accomplish something, if you're some kind of great thinker, what does our school system do? They literally will hold you back. They put you in a class and say, "Don't work ahead." I'm sure any of you that were in like the gifted programs through elementary and middle school, I remember constantly being told by my teachers, "Don't work ahead. You need to wait for everybody else. I am in charge. I am your authority." And it's always these fat white women who are failures. That's why they teach. because they have nothing else going for them. They can't get a husband, they don't have kids. So instead they go and teach. But they're jealous when they see a pupil that actually has a chance because they know they never had it. They know they threw theirs away, so they hold you back and say, "Don't work ahead. Stay like everybody else. Stay normal. Stay average." I know I'm kind of like running in wild directions here, right? Like everything I'm saying, it's not all connecting right now. I promise it will by the end of the video. But, I like to keep it unscripted because I just feel like it's more flowy, it's more free. It makes it more, um, I can think better when it's unscripted and it's real. It's very real. It gives you new ideas. It's good to just sometimes talk. I highly recommend for anybody out there that just needs a way to like express their thoughts. Just record yourself talking, and then it opens up your mind in ways that you never would have known before, and it's a beautiful thing. But as I was saying, anybody they see getting ahead, they tear down. They see you getting outside of the system, they tear you down. They call you a rapist. They call you a sex offender. Look at what they're doing to Andrew Tate. They call you a racist. They use all these words to try to destroy your public image so that you can't make it to the top. But it doesn't matter for the highest of these guys, right? For the guys that are actually going to make it, for the uncancelable people, right? Look at like South Park, shows like that. It says the most outrageous things, but it'll never be canceled because it refuses to be canceled. It doesn't accept it because it's not part of the social tree. Words like racist, sexist, homophobe, transphobe, those words only affect you if you're trying to make it up the traditional social ladder. Because everybody climbs up that ladder and then they get to the middle and then they start to settle down because, they start to get tired. And then, you know, the only way to actually make it to the top of that ladder is by throwing other people down. Because, it's like a traffic jam in the middle, everybody stays there. So what you have to do is start to throw the few competitive people down so you can get to the top because there's not enough room at the top of that ladder. There's only like enough space for 100 people. So, those 100 are just chucking everybody else down that's trying to make it. And then there's the people on the outside though, right? Because if you try to go up that ladder and somebody labels you with racist, it's a form of being thrown down. So getting called a racist, being called transphobe, it means that, the cult, they all start to attack you. They throw your ladder to the ground, they push it down, and then you're back at the bottom and you have to reset. But nobody will let you climb. So what do you have to do? You have to turn to the outside of the ladder. You have to make your own ladder. You have to make your own path. But people will be angry at this, so they'll start putting new labels on. And then as you get closer and closer to the top, people will climb down their ladders. They will literally bring themselves down to knock yours over. And unfortunately, it works a lot of the times. I mean, a lot of these people, they get torn out of the public light because they are willing to say things that aren't acceptable on the traditional ladder, the traditional social hierarchy. If they're willing to say things that will get you thrown down from there, if you just carve your own path, it destroys the system that they're all so used to, so comfortable with. It's a dangerous thing for the people that are comfortable if they see other people succeeding because it forces them to start working. But back to my original point, right? This video started off, people like being used, and that's kind of what I've been trying to get at this entire time. People prefer to stay mediocre because it's easier, and if somebody challenges that and tries to become greater, they will tear themselves down and the other person down because it's more comfortable to see nobody make it and not have to try yourself than to see somebody make it and start to have to think, man, am I not good enough? So they prefer to just get used. That's why they're so willing to just go onto porn and just get addicted all day because it's a way to take their mind off of it where they can have somebody else enslave them. People want to be slaves. They want to follow, right? I mean, again, like we are lambs of God, but we've rejected God, so we've made ourselves lambs of man. And that is a terrible thing because it makes it so you lose your free will. People are willing to give up their free will so they don't actually have to make hard decisions, so they don't actually have to face the fact that they aren't good enough yet, that they are only average, that they are only mediocre, so they just hop on porn. They hop on whatever new TV show is out. They go to the bar, they go to the club, they drink, they just have a bunch of casual sex because I mean, what? It feels good in the moment. All these things have a similar quality. They feel good in the moment. They make you feel normal. They make you feel like everybody else because it's the same distractions that everybody else is using. You can take advantage of this though. As I was saying, there's a way to craft your way up. There's a way to make your own ladder. Because there's no way to get to the top that is really realistic in the traditional social hierarchy. The traditional one, maybe if you spend 50 years climbing and throwing people down, by the way, there's no way to make it unless you are willing to harm others to get there. That's the only way to make it, and even then, it's going to be incredibly difficult. It's not even worth it. That's why so many people just are willing to stay mediocre. It's not even worth it to try to become better in the traditional hierarchy. But if you get outside of that, all of a sudden the entire world opens up to you. You aren't stuck on this little ladder with everybody else. You get to make your own steps. You get to make a stairway to heaven instead of, plummeting down to hell. That's the other option. So you have to start crafting your own way up, and you have to have people that are willing to back you because you can't do it by yourself. Nobody can. That's just the truth. You need people around you. You need followers. The only way to become great is to have followers. Nobody cares about you if you don't have any influence. And there's been different stages throughout humanity. There have always been followers and there have always been leaders. When there were monarchies, it was the age of kingdomship. There's different ages to this, different time periods where, there were different ways to be successful, to be great, to be looked at very highly, be looked at the top of the social food chain. It was kingdomship, so you had to be born into it. If you weren't born into it, you were pretty much guaranteed obscurity outside of that. And a few people were able to escape the hierarchy, become artists or something. And, maybe they were able to do something, but even most of them were hated by the majority of people. But, kingdomship, you were born into it, and that's it. You were, whatever class you were born in, you were stuck in that class. There was very little social movement. And then we got to this new age, and it's always been leaders who are at the top. You have politicians, you have warriors, great fighters. They've always been highly respected. But with this new age after monarchies, there became a new way to become successful, and it was by becoming some kind of artist, right? I mean, you had to if you could create something, if you could invent something, you could entertain people. That's how you start to get to the top. Or you could just bring some kind of benefit by, again, just being a great leader. The presidents, they were all highly perceived. And then, you have some artists or writers, those types. And then that goes for, a couple hundred years. And, it's just this traditional art form. And then eventually you have like movie makers. You have people who are willing to create something to entertain. Those were the people that had any kind of influence. And now that we are in a new age right now, and it's the age of social media. In the age of social media, anybody, I mean, can make it. You don't have to have any insane skill. You just have to be willing to say something that nobody else is, or be attractive is a big one, right? You have all these e-thoughts. So you have them, and then you have people who are saying things that nobody else will, and then you have people who are getting promoted by each other. And in this age, because the world is so open and there's so many people that are desperate to follow something more than ever because they are so disconnected from God, this is where you have to step in and you have to take influence. You have to become the influencer. You have to become a social media influencer. And I fully believe this is the way to the top right now. In the modern world, the way to gain popularity, the way to gain influence over people, the way to become respected, become adored, really, by society and by the majority of people. And it doesn't even have to be the majority, it just has to be a large number. You could have like 10% of the population love you, and that is millions of people, right? I mean, if it's 10% of the total population, hundreds of millions that love you, even if the other 90% hate you, which that is the cost, unfortunately, of getting to the top. Most people will hate you, and that's again why people like to live in comfort, because if you go any higher, 90% of the population hates you. But I mean, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be greater to be loved by 10% and hated by 90% than to be no, but 90% don't know you and 10% are indifferent on you? I'd rather have 10% of the population that loves me because that's a lot of people. And that's enough people where you can really make some kind of change, some kind of impact on the world. And because your grasp is so open, thanks to this new age of influence, this social media age, You have this opportunity to create limitless followers. There are people everywhere looking for someone to lead. So what you got to do to, become great is you have to get on social media and start like just speaking. Get yourself known, get yourself into the space. I mean, I'm working on it. You can clearly see by this channel. I mean, I've been going for what, a year now? Obviously, I mean, I've only been doing this seriously for, holy crap, it's been 7 months. That just hit me. Okay, yeah, but I've only been kind of doing this seriously for like 7 months. I had 35 subscribers at the beginning of this year. We've nearly 10 times to that, which I mean, 325 subscribers or whatever we're at right now. I know it's nothing all that special, but it is something that's exciting. It's a start. It's a start to the mission, a start to the glory. And that's what we're working on. That's where we're trying to get to, glory. That way we can help more people. And in this age of people who want to be used, you got to take advantage of that. You got to get on social media and you got to start influencing. You got to create a voice for yourself. And it has to be a unique voice because nobody wants to hear just a repeat of everybody else. You got to be you. If you're not authentically you, nobody that you actually care, nobody that is important enough to be cared about is going to respect you. Do you really care if again, 90% of the population loves you? If 90% of the population respects you, not even loves. Most people won't love you. But if 90% of the population respects you, what does that mean? 90% of the population is retarded. 90% of the population is stupid. Why do you care if they respect you? You want that 10%. The only way you get the 10% of intelligent people that are actually going to make it to respect you, that means you got to be able to step it up and you got to be authentically you, because they all know that the only way to actually, you know, live in light, live in some kind of happiness is to authentically be you. You got to stop being so afraid of what other people think, because do they really matter? They're all going to be what? They're all going to be mediocre their entire lives. Why do you care what mediocre people think of you? Just stop. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the long run, especially when you start to actually make it. None of them matter. Anybody that you know that is mediocre and not striving to greatness, if they don't want to be the number one, they don't want to be the greatest person in second greatest person in human history. There is Jesus Christ, of course. But if you're not striving to be second place, you aren't good enough. I'm sorry, you will never make it. You don't have what it takes if you don't have a deeply ingrained desire to be one of the greatest people, one of the greatest influences in human history. How are you ever going to make it if you're competing with people whose greatest fear in life is not being successful? That's an interesting thing, right? Like, what is your greatest fear? What is it? Like spiders? These things that are just like, what? Oh no, it's gonna hurt you. Ah, no, no. Why are you afraid of that? It all comes back to what, your life being cut short, and what does that mean? You won't be great. You won't be successful. My greatest fear is being average. That is by far. I think about it every single day. It haunts me. It's like a siren calling out to me. This idea of being average, because it's approaching quicker and quicker every day. I'm 15 years old. I'm almost 16, right? That gives me less than 3 years to figure this out, and then I'm 18 and I gotta actually go into the world, and I gotta figure it out while playing the game. If I can be successful now, I don't ever have to play that game. That's the dream right there, but unfortunately, it is unlikely that anybody can really make it without playing along a little bit. So we'll see. But it is a daunting fear that, I have less than 3 years before I have to go into the real world. And then people who are already, what, like 20, 25, 30. I mean, your time is so limited. You have so much less time to actually do something. Every single second you spend wasted is like a million years. Every single second. Every month is a lifetime. The amount of things you could accomplish in a month, and we just waste them. We sit around and we waste our months. You don't have that many. You have 12 in a year. You have what? 30 years where it's worth actually like becoming great. Like, after you turn, I guess, you know what, I'll give you 50 years, and then what's the purpose? Your body's degenerated. You probably have like 40 good years in you, right? 40 really great, 40 years where you really can capitalize. So 40 times 12, what is that? 400, 480. You have 480 total months. And you know what? Let's take away 10 years of that because no, 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 no. We're going to take away 13 years because before you're a teenager, let's be real, you aren't doing anything. So 13 times 12. Give me a second. Quick maths, quick maths. 130, 130. Sorry, guys. Sorry. 142, 154. Yeah, 154 minus what were we at? Like 480 or something like that. We'll say it's like 330. You know, we'll give you 350 months. I don't really want to do the subtraction math. I kind of forgot the original number, not gonna lie. But you have like 350 months in your entire life where you actually have a capable physical body that you have a chance to do something great with, and you're gonna just have a month where you didn't accomplish a thing. And let's be honest, I'm giving you some credit, giving you up after 13, we're assuming you did something. I mean, for most of us, what, 15 is when we actually started doing anything? Maybe, just maybe you started becoming kind of mature then? Oh, that's not true for 99% of the population, to be completely realistic. And then I know some of you, like I know some people that watch this channel are after 30. They are older than 30 years old. You know, you are now down to your last like 12 years of like physically capable body where you can really use it to accomplish something great. And then it's just on the decline. Even if you can be 50 and do something amazing. But it's going to become more difficult because your body's on a decline. So now you have 12 years, 12 years of just 12 months. You have 144 months. You're down to your last 144 months and you're going to spend a single one wasted. Think about how much time that is that you truly have. And we're just going to waste it. We're just going to throw it away. Kind of lost track of where I was at, not going to lie. I'm going to be completely honest again. Not on script because I think it's more natural. I think it's more authentic to do it this way. Um, But yeah, we spend so much time wasted on these distractions because it's easier than facing the real world. Because when you face the real world, you see you have challenges, you see if you have flaws, you see you have things that you have to get better at, things you have to improve before you're ever going to make it. You just don't have that much time to look at your life and just figure these things out. You have to figure them out while going forward. Because if you try to stop and stare, if you try to stop and look around, you're just gonna run out of time, and all of a sudden, you're getting hit by the freight train of being what 100 years old. I mean, out of nowhere, you're gonna be what 20. I mean, that's crazy for me to think about. Again, I'm gonna be an adult in 2 years. That's gonna just hit me like a bus. It is hitting me like a bus that I don't have that much time. I don't have that much time. And for those of you that are older, you have even less. Think about it. I'm scared that I'm gonna about to be an adult, and you guys are like, some of you are gonna turn what 40. That's crazy. Just take that in for a second. Reflect on that. Reflect if you're happy with what you've done so far. Reflect if you've lived a life that you always dreamed about. Reflect because you had the potential to be great. And how much time did you throw away? And I'm not saying you still can't be, because we always have this opportunity to turn it around. But I mean, it's a scary thing. Time is a terrifying thing. But you have to choose your poison. I mean, it's going to happen either way. So either, again, as one of the original points I was making in this video, inflict pain on yourself so you don't have to deal with the much worse pain that's going to hit you when you're 50, you're alone, you're unhappy, the average man is divorced. His kids stripped from him. What does he have? He has nothing. He has nothing. Damn, I've been going for 30 minutes now. That's something. But I have a lot to say here. It's been a reflective video, I'm sure, for not just me, but a lot of you. It's important that we think about these things. I'd like to show my face on here eventually because I think I can give better speeches when I can actually incorporate my face, incorporate my hands. But, obviously it is a risk showing your face. I mean, again, like said a few times, I am a minor still. So it's a risk of ever getting a job when you have opinions like mine. because anybody that's been following this channel for a while knows I am very authentic on here. I'm not afraid to say anything. And I mean, that goes in real life too. I'm not afraid to talk. I'm not afraid to show my face with this, but it's strategically stupid. I'm sure I will if this channel actually starts to get some traction, and I believe it's strategically smart to show my face because I'm not afraid of the backlash. I'm more afraid of my life being stripped from me because of being honest of who I am. And that's the fear here. But it's gonna happen eventually. Eventually, I'll give you all a face reveal. Maybe at like 1,000 subscribers, we'll do that. I know it's not a lot. It's not a great idea to bank off of 1,000 subscriber YouTube channel, but I don't want to be average. I would rather be a loser that is just constantly struggling. I would rather go through the worst pain imaginable. I would rather be on the streets working every single day to be great than to be put in a situation where I have an opportunity to be comfortable as an average person. Because once you get comfortable being average, you're stuck there for life. And that's just the truth. I would seriously rather be homeless than be comfortable. Because once you're comfortable with mediocreness, you've lost. I never want to lose this spark. And I'd hope that goes for all of you as well. And we have all these distractions, and that's the biggest risk of all these distractions from yourself, your own greatness, and God, the greatest of greatnesses. The only thing that can actually bring you an eternal and legitimately fulfilling life. It's not going to be money. It's not going to be women. It's going to be God. We have all these distractions that hold us back. Snapchat. What are you doing on Snapchat? You're just texting whores. Think that's going to make you feel good? You think in 30 years you're going to look back and be like, man, I'm so glad I spent all that time texting whores, fucking them in bathrooms. That sounds fun. Yeah. Yeah, that's not going to turn out well for you. I like being blunt. That's what I prefer to do. And you gotta be blunt with people, or they'll never see the flaw. And you don't have to you don't gotta be a jerk about anything, but you should be honest as a man, especially. You should just be honest with people about how they're throwing their life away, and that's what I'm trying to do with you guys right now. Because I know there's a lot of you out there who are wasting your time, wasting your energy on pointless things. Things like women. If you're honestly, if you're not great, why are you spending time on women? You don't have the privilege to do that. You haven't earned it yet. You haven't earned women yet, so why are you talking to them? Because the whores, they don't have to be earned. It's easy. It's comfortable. All about comfort. Comfort is the killer of man. It'll destroy you. It'll rip you down. It'll tear you to shreds. Yeah. Yep, that's just how it is. That is just how it is. Starting to lose my voice a little bit now, though. Wow. Again, unscripted. I expected this minute video to be 10 minutes at most. It's been almost I guess I've been recording for almost 40 now. I'll trim it down a little bit and then it'll probably get down to I don't know, 35. We'll see. I guess and then it'll probably we'll keep it going. So, we'll see how much longer I can go. But I'm enjoying this. I am enjoying talking right now. So, you know, I'm I have a lot to say to you guys and I I guess maybe I try to cram it all too much in. I have too much to say and not enough time. It's all about time. I have so much I want to express. I know none of you are watching at this point. It's been nearly a 40-minute video. You guys don't have the attention span for this. And I know that this video is going to fail. This video is going to have no traction because you guys don't have the attention span. And that's okay. I'm not angry about it. It's just the way it is. I'm gonna get like a 10 view video out of this. I'm pretty sure I'm shadow banned on YouTube anyways, so that's just the way it goes sometimes. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Uh, we have to accept reality how it is, and I could lay down and die. I could just give up, but I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna keep pushing, even if I'm gonna keep making videos that are gonna get 10 views because every single one I do, there's a chance. There's a chance that it gets a million, and then we go from there. I'm never gonna stop. I'm never gonna lose this spark, and that's my promise. That is my promise to not just you guys, but myself. I will never lose this. I want to keep going. And I hope you all have the same desire for greatness as I do. Because you're never gonna achieve you're never gonna be more You're never going to be above average if you're not willing to achieve. If you're not willing to put in the work to be great, you can never even get past that comfort point. If you're not willing to give up all comfort, you'll never make it. You'll never be able to get past that zone, you know? There's like the friend zone, right? Oh no, that sucks. And then there's a much evil or comfort zone. The comfort zone is far worse than the friend zone. In the comfort zone, you have what? You have like a mediocre girlfriend. You have like a 6 out of 10. But she's sweet, so you know, you get on with it. You have in the comfort zone, you have like what? A nice-ish, warmish bed. It's okay. It's not the best bed, but it's comfortable. You have your comfortable little TV. You get Netflix, so you can hang out. You can get all comfortable in your mediocre bed and watch Netflix on your mediocre TV with your mediocre girl. So much more, so much more awful than the friend zone. Because the friend zone, you know, we hear about these like villain arcs all the time. Those get put into men because of the friend zone. The friend zone makes you better. Especially not if you're willing to accept the friend zone, because that's just depressing. Oh, God bless men who get put in the friend zone and actually stay friends with the girl. That's tough. That's really rough. But yeah, the friend zone is tough, but it makes you hurt, and that hurt makes you better. If you don't get friend zoned by the mediocre girl, you're gonna get a mediocre life out of it because now you're content, and that is the most dangerous word. That is the most dangerous word in the English language, content, because it means you aren't good. It means you aren't striving to be better. And every second you spend not striving to be better is a second of your life that is wasted. If you're not already great, you have no time to spend not trying to get there. And that's just the truth. Wow, that was a video. Ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far somehow, you know, I already talked to you guys about your attention spans, which I know none of you heard because you didn't make it that far in the video, but prove me wrong. Go ahead, leave a comment. Let me know that, hey, I'm actually still like mentally normal. I still have the attention span of my great granddad. I don't have the average attention span, which is literally of a goldfish. So, you know what? Prove me wrong. Comment. Let me know. You know, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, share it, get this message out there because I think it needs to be heard. That's why I just spent 40 minutes talking. Wow, 40 minutes talking unscripted. That's a new record for me, ladies and gentlemen, by a long shot. I think that's like 15 minutes over the last one I did, and even that one had a start to a script. I think the longest video on this channel is like 58 minutes or something like that, but that video was completely scripted. Not that great of a video. It's one of my really early ones, actually, which is pretty interesting. It was a video on Doctor Strange and the occult, all the occultist symbols within it, which was an interesting topic. I was just like new to the YouTube, so it wasn't all that well done. It was recorded on my phone to iMovie. So, you know, it's that type of quality. Which, you know, I'm not going to mock myself too much for it, but I'm pretty sure I had like 20 subscribers then. So if you somehow remember that video and saw it, congratulations. You are an OOG. So, debut mans. I know none of my followers from then even watch anymore. I'm pretty confident because the content is completely different. That stuff was all like occultist, uh, conspiracy stuff, and now we're political conspiracy stuff. So it's so different. I might get back into the occultist content though because it's still interesting to me. It's very deeply interesting because I do believe that the occult had a part in the downfall of America. You know, it was these like I can't say that on YouTube. I was going to talk about a certain group of people and the occult that they are a part of. But I'm not allowed to say that on here. So I'm glad I didn't slip up because that would have ruined my entire video, which would have been very unfortunate. A lot of time wasted. But it's real. It's very real. Very true. So again, like I was saying before I got distracted again, like, subscribe, share it. The only way we are going to be able to take back this country is together, ladies and gentlemen. So join the fight. But like I said, I am going to head out. So long. Peace out, and God bless y'all.